You're watching the CHS podcast. Now, here's Nathan and Micah.
What is up, big pimps? It's your boy Ginger Stallion. Go check out my SoundCloud, no shame. Coming at you with another unofficial CHS podcast with Nathan, aka Nathaniel Phillips. What is up, my dude?
How is it poppin', my boy?
Dude, my life is popping real fine right now.
Aw, yeah, dude, I'm feeling you, dude. This last few weeks have been a lot better for me.
Yeah, except we got new seating charts in Miss Packs that I'm not okay with.
Oh, really? Well, in my class, we got to choose our seats, so what's wrong with yours?
The fact that my class is mentally challenged and we're crazy.
So she has to separate you.
Oh yeah, she put me in questionably the worst possible seat I could get put in. So,
Hmm.
but I started a group chat with all the important people, so I just text them during the class. So, nice try, Miss Pack, but better luck next time.
I'm not trying to brag, but she told my class that we're so well behaved that she let us pick our own seats. So me and Rob just sit in the back, and we don't. I mean, we pay attention most of the time, but we talk to each other a lot.
Yeah, I sat in the back 2 seating charts ago, but she moved me to the front because I wasn't paying attention, and now she moved me in the back again because I was annoying her while she was teaching. So
That's when it's pretty serious that you have to move a student to the front, and then you can't stand them so much that you have to move them back to the back.
She want to mend this, but I'm her favorite student. Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. She has that kind of personality. I could see her really liking you.
Yeah, we keep telling her or asking her who's her favorite class, and she won't answer. She pulls the we don't have favorites, whatever. But every teacher has a favorite class. But she does call us her most obnoxious class, so I'll take what I can get.
Well, you guys won the donuts, so I think that alone just proves that you're her favorite.
She also said that to her sixth period, she said something like, "We only won it so that we would shut up about not winning."
I think she said that to us too, actually.
Oh my gosh, dude, that just. I guess there is some good things.
You
about
got donuts though, so you can't
Yeah,
complain.
we got donuts, so I'm okay with it.
Speaking of Miss Pack's class, in my class, we've had a student teacher in there the last 2 days. And what's crazy is Miss Pack has not mentioned or acknowledged his existence at all. He's just sat over there, and she hasn't introduced him, what his name is, why he's there. I mean, I don't even 100% know if he's a student teacher, but he wears a little tech thing around his neck, so I just assume he's a student teacher. But it's really weird that she hasn't introduced him.
That is, I don't know. She probably told him to leave for our class because she doesn't want to make him suffer. So I haven't seen him. Has he talked in your class? Does he have like a deep mask?
He hasn't said a word the whole time.
Oh wow. Okay, then that means he's socially awkward. So I don't like him.
Well, he hasn't really gotten an opportunity to talk just because Miss Pack hasn't introduced him.
I still think that I don't like him because Miss Pack won't let our class see him.
Maybe he's like really hyperactive or like ADD, and she knows if you guys met, it would be an instant like war, like it would atomic bomb in that class.
I know, especially if me and Drew Flannery, which he sits 2 seats behind me, so that's gonna be an interesting time. Well, actually, I just had a plan. So me and Drew need to act really bad so we can get a new seating chart,
So every time you don't like the seating chart, you just act even worse.
Yeah, but last time I tried that, this happened, and I said by literally no one.
So our big topic this week is the protests that happened last week at school. I believe it was on Wednesday, and that was a big thing that was happening across multiple schools across the country, and some students at our school. Everyone knows this obviously, but I'm just repeating it. Some students at our school decided to participate in it, and we're gonna talk about that. What do you think, Micah?
Honestly, I think it's pretty funny that only 35 students participated in it out of the 2,300 kids who go to our school.
That honestly, that is crazy to me. I expected there to be more. I expected it to be like maybe 100 or 200, but wow, only that many.
Some schools around the country, they literally had their whole school have a walkout. And which, we just kneeled down in the commons area like, I don't want to say idiots, but like idiots, so,
I think, well, I'm just gonna say what I like and what I didn't like about it. What I did like was that when Eli Anderson went on the intercom, he wasn't like, all right, guys, we're going to protest gun control or violence or whatever. He was just like, all right, we're going to try and honor these students. And that's what I like was he didn't try and make it just
political.
try and push agenda. He was just making it about the students and trying to honor their lives. Because I feel like a lot of people around the country, especially politicians, are just using these people's deaths as ways to push their political agenda rather than actually caring that these people died. So that's what I liked. However, those same people weren't really being very respectful in their protests. They were kind of just talking to each other and laughing and joking around, and they should have been silent and still, and that's not really what they were doing. It's kind of disrespectful.
Yeah. Well, I like our staff, our new principal handled it very well. I would have never expected him to come on the intercom and directly address the point that we're having this. And it was even more amazing that, he even let Eli talk on it and give information. And I don't know, I was just very taken aback by how it was handled. And to the point of them not taking it seriously, I mean, it is kind of hard to do that when it's only like freaking I almost said a fourth of our high school, 30th of our high school participating in this and having like I would say there was over 200 people or over 500 maybe just watching them, So, I mean, it's kind of hard to give that moment.
Well, you think that would kind of pressure them more. Like, if a bunch of people came to watch, you would then feel pressured to act that way.
True. And I'm not sure. I don't think that our school necessarily meant it as a protest, more of like, just mourning the people who lost their lives in the shooting, which I think was good.
Yeah.
Which also, to the point of gun control, whatever, there's this kid in my English class who was talking about how he thinks teachers should have guns. I think that's about the stupidest thing I've heard, honestly. I don't feel like that is a good idea.
A lot of people are talking about that, and I don't know why. I think, honestly, the best solution is just having more security at the school, like as security guards. We have one officer at our school, and we have, 2,000 students. I think we need,
We have two officers that are on campus, but there's only one in the building.
Yeah. I think it should be at least two in the building.
Yeah.
With so many students, it's ridiculous for there to be one. And how long is it going to take? It's going to take the other guy a while to get in if he hears something,
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like that's the best solution. And a lot of schools are already putting in more security measures as far as officers and locking doors and stuff like that. And I feel like that's good. But I feel like it needs to be a law to where every school should have a certain number of officers that go with the ratio of how many students they have.
Yeah, but I mean, in the the shooting in Florida, they had officers, but it's early on in the story. But apparently, the officers didn't even run in to stop the shooter.
I think it was only one. There was only one officer, and he didn't do anything. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think it was multiple. But that guy should be arrested. Honestly.
yeah. It's a very. I don't know all the facts, but that's a very coward thing to do, especially if you're a law enforcement officer and you don't put your life at risk to save innocent children. It's absurd.
Yeah, and like fully well knowing people are gonna hate you later for it, like that, and as well would probably motivate you.
Which I would rather die than be seen as a coward for the rest of my life and blamed for the deaths of innocent people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you could live with yourself knowing that you just stood by and let those people die.
I think the best way to address guns in schools is I think bump stocks should be illegal. Which do you know what a bump stock does?
I don't know enough. I haven't looked into it. I was planning on researching it, but I've completely forgot about it.
So a bump stock, it's like you pull the trigger on a semi-automatic rifle, and normally you'd have to keep pulling the trigger so it slows down the rate at which you fire. But with a bump stock, it has a little slack between the end of the bump on the gun, end of the stock on the gun, and then the actual bump stock. So the vibration from when you shoot, it pushes the gun back and pushes it back to your finger, so you don't have to move your finger. So it just keeps shooting for you, and it shoots. I watched a YouTube video. It shoots insanely fast, like insane. So I think bump stocks should be illegal, unless I don't know for military purposes, but that's what automatic rifles are already for. I think that extended magazines should be illegal because I mean, for recreational purposes, do you really need a 30, 40 round mag? You know,
Yeah.
and then of course, background checks, mental stability checks, all of that needs to be looked at again. And then I honestly think that semi-automatic rifles and stuff like that, the age, he's 19 and legally bought one. How? I think you got to be at least 30 or something, you know?
Oh, I think 30's a bit
Okay,
late, but
30 might be a bit too late, but 19, I think that's way too early.
I'd say like I think it probably depends on what state you're in. So that would probably be um honestly, I haven't done enough research to really talk about this, but I'd say just off the top of my head, without really knowing too much, probably 21 seems like a good age, just because that's the age you can do a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know too much about this either, so I'm trusting our very well working together government to decide on this. So we probably won't see anything change for quite a while.
I mean, I don't really think it matters how old you are as long as you're responsible enough and mentally sane enough to know how to use a weapon
Yeah,
and
but
to
I
know
want
what
to
it's
know
meant for.
how do they, how can you check someone's mental stability
That's
without
true.
them already like doing something insane? Like, well, apparently the Florida shooter made comments about being a professional school shooter or whatever, but every other instance, how are you going to like prove that this person is unstable and doesn't need a gun?
Well,
Especially if they have a clean record, like they've done nothing wrong, they graduated high school, whatever, there's no way that I know of that you can tell like, hey, this person's going to do something awful with this gun.
that's true. Well, they definitely should have done. They should have done something about those comments he made online.
Yeah, I heard the FBI, they made some lame butt excuse about how they couldn't find him, even though the name was Nicholas Cruz. on the account, which I think that needs to be looking into. Background checks need to be looking into. We need reform for all this.
Mm-hmm.
Because times change, and now we're seeing this trend of, what is it, like, isn't it like up to 15 school shootings or something just in 2018?
Well, actually, this is one of the things I do know something about. Apparently, it's really only been like 3, and the other ones that are counted are like one was like, a couple of them were like accidental firings, and like someone killed themselves on a school grounds,
Okay,
and
so
they
like,
count that even though it's not someone trying to kill other people.
okay, so like mass shootings basically at schools. There's been approximately 5, would you say? Is that a good number?
I don't know if it was. I think it's like 3. I'm not 100% certain, but I thought it was 3, which is still, in my opinion, 3 too many.
Yeah, I was about to say, this might sound stupid, but,
But
one is too
but
many.
the media is saying 18 is definitely a lie.
Yeah. Which, to their point, yes, technically it was a school shooting, but not. They still need to be,
Not in the way they're trying to say it is.
yeah, but they're using it to push a political agenda that I think does need to be addressed. I don't think that we can just sit here and do nothing about it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening to another podcast. Sorry it got a little bit political, but that's just the way the world goes. Anyways, Nathan, it's been good.
Yeah, man, it's been great. Make sure everyone to tune in next week on the Unofficial CHS podcast.